Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to inside the world's most powerful building. Now this is the Pentagon. I mean it's Pentagon, right? But I think you say it Pentagon. I'm pretty sure. I don't actually know much about this building other than its shape. I think it's located in Washington DC. I mean, I'd assume it's in the capital city, but from this image here, it doesn't really look like it's in like a city. It looks like quite a green area, which I just wouldn't associate with like Washington DC, unless it's maybe on the outskirts or something. I don't know. That's me showing my knowledge. But in terms of what happens in this building, I couldn't tell you. I don't really have a clue. Is it high-tech things? I mean, I'm assuming it says inside the world's most powerful building. I assume we're not going to get the up-to-date sort of look into it, unless maybe it's not very secretive about. They're not very secretive about what's inside the building. I'm not too sure. We're going to find out. And yeah, let's just jump into this reaction.
This is the Pentagon, and for 80 years...
Oh, it is. Okay, you can see from this view, it is in a major city. From the satellite view, it looks very... I don't know, it just looked very green.
It's been the biggest office building in the world. But that's not all it is. It's also the most secure building in the world and home to America's most important secrets, known worldwide for its unbeatable security. But how is it that this five-sided shape, built in less than 2 years, became one of the most impenetrable forces the world has ever seen? To understand the construction of the Pentagon, we need to go back to the end of World War I, where the United States Department of Defense had begun growing at an exponential rate due to the war effort, and really never stopped growing after it ended. More and more military structures were established, and it got to the point where they didn't just have anywhere to consolidate all of them. As World War II was beginning, growth picked up again, and it became nearly impossible for the Corps to remain coordinated and in control. This disorganization started to become a more serious issue, and a request by the man in charge of logistics, Brahman B. Sommerfeld, the head of the construction division of the Quartermaster Corps, was made to increase the space they had, a request which Congress promptly agreed to. Shortly after, a plan was made to construct the building. The original location was in Arlington Farms, which geographically was surrounded on 5 sides by various roads. Because of this, the decision was made to construct the building in the shape of a pentagon, and thus the unique design was born. However, complaints rose about the building, both due to its size and due to its location blocking the view of Arlington National Cemetery. So the building would shortly after be moved near the Potomac River, where it currently...
Wait, so it wasn't built here, or was it initially here and then it got moved here? I assume it probably that was planned to build it there, but then they didn't. Okay, that's interesting.
Stands. Construction of the Pentagon began in 1941 under the supervision of architect George Bergstrom and chief engineer Leslie Groves. The Pentagon's construction was completed in a remarkably short time, considering the challenge posed by wartime shortages and various logistical complexities. They worked at this rate due to the growing concerns about the ongoing war, and construction intensified after December of 1941 when the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor took place, prompting Sommerfeld to push for it to be open for occupation by April of 1943. Notably, the construction of the building didn't include any elevators, a decision made both to speed up the process of construction and also to conserve the uses of steel and iron for other needs of the war. It officially opened on January 15, 1943, and quickly became the nerve center of U.S. military operations. Its location close to the Capitol allowed for easier communication and coordination between military branches, leading to more efficient...
I'm getting the feeling we're not actually going to look inside the building, because based on what he said about the security and stuff, I assume they don't have that information. And so far, I've not seen one image of the inside. But
decision-making and execution of wartime strategies. One question you may ask at this point is, why a pentagon? Sure, they needed it for geographical reasons back at the beginning, but they've moved locations and that's no longer necessary, so why stick with it? The design of the building was not only practical but also symbolic. The 5 sides represented the unity of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps, and the newly created Department of Defense, highlighting the collaborative nature of American military operations.
So basically it's a building strongly linked to the military, or maybe it is literally a building for the military.
Besides that, and perhaps a more significant determining factor at the time of construction, was that President Franklin D. Roosevelt just kind of liked it. He stated that he liked the shape and that he had never seen any building designed.
It doesn't seem like very American style. I mean, I don't know what that means, but I just feel like you'd sort of see this style of building in like the Soviet Union or Russia or something. Like, it doesn't seem from the outside very modern, although again it was built like approaching like 90 years ago. Well, they started building it approaching 90 years ago. But yeah, it does look like a building that, I don't know, it just looks like you'd find it in like Soviet Russia. Maybe that's part of the charm. I'm not sure.
That, so he wanted it to stay the same. Another reasoning, which may not have been considered when it was first being constructed, was the sheer ease and convenience of navigating.
Like, it looks a bit like a prison, I'm gonna be honest. Like, for example, like these sort of windows, like these windows are just sort of like looking at nothing. Yeah, I get a sort of prison feeling of this. Is that going to be pissing people off? Surely people... I mean, I don't think this building is really admired for its looks. Its shape's pretty interesting, but like its looks, it just looks very like old school.
The building. It is said that even today, with its ever-growing size, it takes no more than 7 minutes to get between any two locations within the building. The interior hallways are also descriptively labeled to assist with navigation and even include a zero corridor, which is the main hallway that wraps the entire length of the building and to which all other corridors converge. A spectacle of organization and an incredible feat for a place that could fit 5 United States capitals within its walls.
Oh, it's massive.
So how does a building that was clearly built with speed as the main priority over security become a place considered the most secure building on Earth?
Jesus Christ.
In the 1990s, the Pentagon faced an outbreak of asbestos, a hazardous material once widely used in construction for its fire-resistant properties. Severe health risks are posed by exposure to asbestos, so the Department of Defense initiated a renovation project. This project was not only aimed at asbestos removal, but also provided an opportunity.
I mean, asbestos removal is really hard. So, like, what, did they take it all down and then just rebuild it? Renew it, I guess? I'm not sure.
To upgrade the Pentagon's infrastructure, thereby enhancing its security and resilience. Little did they know, these upgrades would come at the perfect time, proving integral in limiting the impact of an attack that nobody could possibly have seen coming. The renovations included the installation of Kevlar linings in some parts of the building. Kevlar, a material used in bulletproof vests, is best known for its resistance to penetration, making it a primary reason for its inclusion in the renovations. The thinking was that it would protect from outside attacks and prevent shrapnel from entering the building in case of an explosion. However, Kevlar is incredibly multifaceted. It can be utilized not only for blast mitigation, absorbing and dispensing the energy from explosions to minimize damage, but also for structural reinforcement, ensuring areas prone to impact held strong under stress. Additionally, while Kevlar itself is not fireproof, it does offer some degree of fire resistance. And when used in conjunction with other materials, it further contributed to the overall fire safety strategy of the facility. On top of just including the Kevlar to reinforce the windows and frames, they also introduced blast-resistant glass. These upgrades, particularly in Wedge 1 of the building, were primarily intended to safeguard against external threats. Unfortunately, they would have to put the new upgrades to the test sooner than they anticipated. On September 11th, 2000...
I always forget that the Pentagon was attacked during 9/11. There's always one of those things that when it's mentioned, I mean, I sort of know. I don't really know about these attacks on the Pentagon building. I always just sort of know about the Twin Towers. I don't think I've seen... Is there footage of this attack? Maybe. I've not seen it before, but it always baffles me because I just feel like I've definitely heard it before, but it's not something that I've looked into.
1. The Pentagon was struck by American Airlines Flight 77
big plane.
After this event.
Oh shit, it was a massive attack.
Project Phoenix was underway, a project not only to rebuild and reinforce the remainder of the building, but also to focus on securing the surrounding area, which was the most vulnerable part of the building. The primary concerns began with a metro station that led directly under the Pentagon, which would be closed so that all access to the Pentagon could be from above ground.
They closed it completely, damn.
There was also Highway 110 that ran unrestricted just meters beside the building. So a decision was made to reroute it through the building's north parking lot, which had just been bolstered with an increased police and security presence. They also installed ram protective barriers and structures designed to prevent unauthorized vehicles from breaching the perimeter and accessing sensitive areas near the Pentagon. Additionally, improvements were made in surveillance and monitoring systems along Highway 110. This included the installation of CCTV cameras, sensors, and other security technologies. Anything or anyone attempting to do anything fishy around the Pentagon would have a real tough time getting away with it, such as this guy, who decided to drive full speed through the security checkpoint, attempting by his own admission to harm others and couldn't even make it out of the parking lot. Even if you did manage to make it inside. Did you know that the Pentagon has its police force known as the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, established through the Department of Defense, and is responsible for the protection of the facility? They also have a means of preventing unauthorized contraband from entering the building via an entire building that was constructed specifically to sort, secure, and direct mail packages. That's all aspects of ground travel. But what about the sky, you're probably wondering? How are they preventing another 9/11 incident? Well, they've got that covered as well. Anti-air systems were put in place with specific rules and regulations preventing air travel over areas of DC, Maryland, and Virginia without permission.
Wow.
You are warned with a laser that a trained pilot will recognize as a warning to reroute out of the area. And a failure to adhere to this warning will result in more direct means of stopping you being initiated.
Jesus Christ.
It will likely begin with the scrambling of fighter jets and potentially more destructive measures if that doesn't discourage the behavior. So, what is it that makes the Pentagon so important nowadays?
I mean, damn, this building's got a chokehold on the entire region.
The Pentagon is a representation of the United States military. It showcases unity between the 5 branches. It provides each branch with a centralized headquarters or a central nerve system, as some refer to it. The Pentagon isn't just useful to the military, however. It is also a symbol for the American people and a symbol of patriotism to the United States as a country. It has a reputation for strength, resilience, and security that is
There's a lot of apartments nearby. I mean, I assume all of these are apartments, right? These. They're very close to it, which is that. I guess it's not a security concern. I don't know. But it seems like it's in a pretty prime location. Like, this all looks like, I don't know if it's downtown, but it looks like this is like a highly populated area.
Recognized by every country around the world. Bye for now.
I mean, look, we didn't really get inside the building. A little bit here and there, to be fair, like looking at the corridors and stuff. But in 1999, they had guided tours of the facility. That was really exciting since we couldn't get a ticket to the White House. But once inside, it just looks like another office building. Nothing flashy, no drama. To my FBI agent, I watched this video for strictly educational purposes. Inside the Pentagon, yeah, we never went in the doors. Yeah, that's very true. Like, it's interesting because I've never seen it from, like, street view. Other than, I think it showed it, like, once. Pentagon... building street view, because it looks a lot bigger than I think I even realize it is, because I always just see it from like the Hawkeye view. I said satellite view, I mean the Hawkeye view, no street view. Come on, man. I mean, this is an old picture, isn't it? Like, it looks very prison-esque, very like Soviet in that image there. Pentagon. Is it really that hard to get images of it from a street view? Look at this one. It's an interesting building, isn't it? It's a very interesting building. But yeah, it's quite hard to find images of it from from a street view, like I've searched. Unless I'm just blind and there is some. But yeah, if you've worked there before, I guess let me know. It's definitely an interesting building. It obviously has a massive, like, I don't know, awe is not the right word, but it's a building that I've seen. I don't really know like the ins and outs of it, like I said at the start, but it makes sense. It was obviously built at an important time in the US's history, and in terms of the Pentagon view from the view like upwards, it definitely has like an image that you can definitely associate it with like just America. I don't know. It's just one of those buildings that you just know. I don't know. If you see the building, you know what country it's in, like what it sort of stands for in a sense. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction, and until next time, like, subscribe.